It's always an honor to, I got to tell you, when I started ministerial school, I started the first weekend out there at Colloquium, where we got to meet some of the professors and understand a little bit of what the ministerial program was going to be like. I made a declaration that weekend that I was not ever going to be a pulpit minister, which is a minister who speaks. And now I have, every Wednesday night, we've got a delightful crowd that comes on Wednesday evenings, and it's growing and expanding, and I'm finding myself, I've grown from, oh my God, to, oh my God, what am I going to talk about, to, oh, that was horrible, to, wow, huh, to really actually looking forward to speaking. So when I have the opportunity to speak on a Sunday, I know it's a great honor, and I know that John and Barbara have been amazing teachers for me in the teachings of the science of mind, and of truth, and of confidence, and of stepping into my own power. So I stand here before you today with a little bit of a confession. And that confession is, I'm 52 years old. Well, that's not the confession. It has taken me 52 years to realize, to have my aha moment, that relationships have absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody. I couldn't believe it. I remember actually just a few weeks back going, oh my God, it really is all about me. It's all about me. It's all about how I have defined relationships, what I set my expectations up to be in regards to relationships. I have spent a lifetime weaving myself in and out of relationships, and really trying to define myself in terms of other people. You know that game? You know that little game we play that is so important for us to feel so connected with somebody that we want to please, that we want to, they're an amazing example, a wonderful role model in our lives. So we want to model ourselves after that. So the danger in that for me has been where I lose that sense of myself, when I lose that sense of authenticity. And authenticity is so important for me because I spent a lifetime thinking I was powerless. Well, not a lifetime, because I don't think that now. But a good chunk of my life thinking that I was powerless, thinking that really my life was just better off defined by other people. It was just easier. It was easier, it felt safer, and I really had no clue who I was or what I wanted. And I got to tell you too, I didn't have the best role models as far as what relationships were. And that starts with personal relationships such as my parents, family members, work. I didn't really have that good a role model, something that I really wanted to model myself after. So instead I just looked at that and observed that and started to define myself in terms of that. And I spent an early part of my childhood and early teens feeling really disconnected. And I didn't understand what that disconnection was. I didn't understand why I didn't feel, really happy with the people that I was with, really happy with the things that I was doing, really happy with my life. And it was because I was growing apart from that awareness of who I am. And I mentioned authenticity, and I'm all about being authentic. I have been committed to my spiritual path for many years, and now the only difference is now I just get to do it in front of you all. That's the difference. That's the difference. So what I have to offer you is really stuff that I've gone through, really stuff that I'm going through. So I get to share with you going, oh my God, this is real life stuff. This happens to every one of us, but there's a way out. There's a way to reconnect. There's a way to tap into that divinity and that light of who you are. And what I know is that identity prayer, that being so aware of that divine presence within ourselves, as ourselves, and bringing that out into our relationships in life makes all the difference in the world as far as confidence, clarity, empowerment, creativity. Every relationship, whether it's with money, whether it's with work, whether it's with a loved one, it doesn't matter. Every relationship is, again, how I relate to it, how I relate to you. But it has nothing to do with you. So it's easy to get into the dynamics because we're in relationship, we seem to be in relationship with someone else, but really what we're bringing is the fullness of our own divine well-being to share that with someone. Relationships aren't 50-50, relationships are 100 and 100. It'd be so much easier if it was 50-50, because then I'd only have to put forth half the effort, right? But I gotta tell you, I'm really committed to deepening this relationship with myself. Really committed to recognizing who I am as the divine presence and stepping into love no matter how much courage that takes, no matter how many old beliefs I just have to wipe away from my consciousness, no matter what I've been told before, no matter what my relationships in the past have looked like. I have seen myself as a failure in relationships, and I got to tell you, I'm not a failure in relationships. None of us are. We are continuously evolving and growing, and if we could really be tapped into that experience, then what an honor it is to share that with, in my case, so many people along the way. Your own personal relationships, and I come from a really fairly large family, and work. It's amazing. I'm a people person. I'm an introvert, but I'm a people person. And I love that connection. But what I realized in my life as I'm continuing on this journey is that it's about my connection with self. It's about connection with my own inner divinity. And am I confident and clear enough to do the work that's necessary, to stop lying to myself, to stop holding myself back, to stop thinking that it has anything to do with anybody else out there, start taking responsibility for my life in a way that, by the way, is not about judgment, self-judgment, or pressure. It's about self-nurturing and self-love and self-recognition. And that's the big S self. And that big S self has become such a part of who I am. Actually, I just got this image of Superman, with the big S. But anyways, yeah, welcome to my mind. So, yeah, Superwoman, right? So, we learn along the way. We learn that when we're kids, we learn that sometimes, it's okay to make our own choices, but our parents make a lot of our choices for us. And I remember being in therapy. I was in therapy for a gazillion years, and grateful, and you ought to be too. And I remember my therapist sharing with me one time about making choices for ourselves. And when a child is dressed up and bundled up in their little snow pants and their little snow coat and their mittens and their hat, and they're out playing and they get hot. And all of a sudden the hat comes off and the mittens come off and the coat comes off. And the parent is like, what are you doing? It's freezing out here. It's like, no, I'm hot. No, it's cold out here. Put your coat on. They bundle the kid back up. And we learn to not trust ourselves. We learn to not trust our bodies. We learn to not trust our thinking, our own perception of what seems to be going on in our own experience. And it can be that simple. And if we build our relationships on what we think other people expect or what we know hasn't worked in the past, if it hasn't worked in the past, it's not going to work right now. And it's an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing awakening. And I think that the difference for me has been having the courage and the self-love to step into doing something new in my work. Stepping into that idea that I am valuable and I can experience the fullness of success on every level. Stepping into my personal relationships, moving from one relationship to another. That's not always an easy transition because it's easy to turn that into a failure, or turn that into self-judgment, or turn that into being afraid to try something new because that sure didn't work. And that's all really baloney. It's all been a wonderful opportunity for us to really get clear, even for myself, really get clear on who I am and what I want. And this whole idea of what you want, Michael Beckwith says energy flows where attention goes. And if we're looking at anything in our lives based on our past experience, we are disempowering ourselves in the moment. We are turning away from that creative potential and possibility. Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. How many times does it feel like we're getting in our own way? And I don't know about you, but in the past I have had the tendency to say, if I felt like something was in my way, it was really all about you and the obstacle. It had nothing to do with me. I was the... And that's just not true. What I learned for me was that just a little bit of action, a little bit of action, a little bit of faith, a little bit of courage, a little bit of clarity can make all the difference in the world and open the way up to be really clear before you. All power is from within and is therefore under our control. And that is really unleashing the creative power that is in every one of us. It's who we are. We are created by nature. And what differentiates us from say, the four-leggeds, well, I guess they have a little bit of that, but the trees, the river, who knows, is free will. And that is the power of choice. We are always, in every moment, at the power. We have that power of choice available to us. We are always, always at choice. Even if we decide to sit back and let life determine for us how it's going to unfold, that's a choice. It's a choice to sit back and do nothing. It's a choice to go, well, you know, I'm just going to hang out here and wait and see how this unfolds. I've done that. Sometimes it's worked out better for me instead of getting in my own way. It's all a choice. So whether I'm taking real conscious action and putting some effort into making the changes in my life that I want to have happen, it's all choice. And getting clear on what I want, if you were to ask me a while ago, you know, what do I want? I could tell you some big ideas that I had that I wanted for my life, but I didn't really understand like the little things. If you get a grip on handling the little details of your life, then that will only build confidence in handling the bigger events in your life, such as what do I want to eat? You know, many of you have known me in this community for years, and I've lost a lot of weight. And a lot of that has happened by me just being aware of what I wanted. What did my body want? It was just a level of awareness. And I was not in the practice of that. And so some of the Wednesday night folks will get to hear this again. But I wanted to share with you a new spiritual practice of mine that I'm really committed to because it has changed the way I view my life unfolding. It has changed the way I claim what I want in my life and how I want my relationships to be, and ultimately then how I want to experience it. And that is every morning after I do my spiritual mind treatment, I take out my journal. And I gotta tell you, it was anti-journaling because my mind just goes way too fast to write all that stuff down. So, but this type of journaling really helps me, and that is, what do I want? This is the question I ask myself, what do I want? How do I want this day to unfold? And it was really challenging for me in the beginning because I just didn't know. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, I'll dream a little bit, dare a little bit. You know, would I like to see my relationships filled with laughter and love and easy communication and open? Would I like to see everything in the office handled and done with loving support and ease and grace and clarity? Would I like to see my finances just paid in full and money flowing into my life? Would I like to see myself traveling? Would I like steak for dinner, or would I like eggplant? You know, that simple little things like that. So I started writing these things down, and just a few lines at first, and then it's expanded. And then something amazing happened. I started to become aware in my life that those things were happening throughout my day, which really got me on fire. It really lit my fire. It got me excited about this idea. So then I started expanding my journaling in the morning, and that has really helped me get clear on what I want on a daily basis. What do I want? And absolutely trusting, because I see it happening right before my very eyes, that it's going to work. And that all shifts my confidence, my courage, my faith, the implementation of my spiritual practice. It has opened doors in how I want to communicate to others what I want, and it has built This level of confidence, I think, is probably the greatest part of me, that I'm actually valuable and worthy, and what I want is just absolutely valid, and it can happen. But see, the trick is, again, even though I'm in relationship with all you people, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about me. It's all about me. And I've got to be willing to embrace that. And it's more a nurturing, it's more an embracing than anything. I've learned that I have to be really gentle with myself and allowing and opening up to what I want in my life, and know that I'm worthy to have that. And the clearer I get on that feeling, it's that feeling then that really opens that creative channel, where all of a sudden opportunities are showing up. If I want more love in my life, opportunities to love are showing up in my life. If I want more money in my life, I was at Bell Sherry yesterday, found a quarter. I was like, woohoo, a quarter. It was like I was 8 years old. It's a quarter. It doesn't matter. It's Spirit's abundance. It's the universe providing. And what I got excited about was that I saw it. I saw it. And then I thought, I should really kind of, I put my foot over it, because I thought I had to like sneak and pick it up because somebody else was going to get it, or it belonged to somebody else. And then I kind of processed through that and thought that was a little ridiculous. So I just went down and picked it up and put it in my pocket. So now I get to tie 3 cents to the Center for Spiritual Living Asheville, because I'm in the Abundant Living program. Yeah. So that What Do I Want journal has been amazing, and I invite every one of you to really implement that practice. It's so simple. I know that some of you have started doing that, and it's changed my life. It's changed how I see myself. So this whole idea of recognizing our own divinity and having that be what we bring to the table. That's what we bring to this buffet of life, if you will. And something amazing happened to me when I was up in Kettering, Ohio with our practitioner candidates for their oral panels. I was sitting there during the day while they were being paneled, and it was almost an all-day long process. And all of a sudden, I felt such incredible joy. And where I felt it was right here in my heart, and I thought, you know, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm a teacher. I am a supporter of people recognizing and embracing their own divinity, and supporting that to be nurtured by them, and watching them flourish and grow and evolve on their own spiritual path, to see them achieve and experience success in every way. It just touched my heart like nothing had ever touched my heart before. I realized at that point I knew who I was. I knew what my work was in the world. And what I realized was I know what my work is in the world because of how I felt. You see, if anything brings, what I know is if anything brings me extreme joy, also what comes with that is incredible peace and tranquility, a sense of safety, a sense of security and stability, a sense of deep knowing, and that's what I bring to my relationships. And if I can tap into that heart space, if I just feel lost or disconnected for a minute, if I just close my eyes and remember what that felt like, that is enough for me to put myself back out there in knowing who I am. So I invite all of us to do that as well. You know, what lights your fire? What gives you that real sense of, man, I know who I am. I love this life. And whatever that is, feel where that is in your body. Feel what it feels like. And know that that is the point of your truest expression. That is the point of your divinity. And then bring that divinity into all that you do and all that you are in all of your relationships. I wanted to share a quote by Vernon Howard. It says, many of us knock on the door, but remain outside, because knocking and entering are entirely different actions. Knocking is necessary, consisting of reading books, attending meetings, asking questions, but entrance requires much bolder action. It requires one to enter into himself, to uncover hidden motives, to see contradictions, and to realize his actual power for self-change. Isn't that wonderful? I love that. It's a brilliant quote. And I've been thinking about all the work that I've been doing on doing that. I have been very bold in my life lately. And I consider, anytime I put myself out there, this for me is bold. This for me is really, really bold. But it's so important for me, and I know that it's my passion to really share from a genuine, authentic level who I am. And any challenge that I've met, any doubt that I've ever had about myself, any question I've ever had about any relationship, regardless of what kind of relationship, is just my opportunity to remember. Remember is like reconnecting. If this is a member, it's about reconnecting. So it's about remembering. It's about reconnecting with that own sense of my big S self. And I wanted to share with you the 5 C's of relationships for me. And I talked about getting clear on what you want, and this whole idea of clarity, it opens everything up. It opens us up to infinite possibilities within our relationship with life. Because it's all about me. It's all about me, and if I'm not clear, then my relationships are going to be a little murky and a little mucky, and I don't want that. I want clarity in my life. So if I do the spiritual work necessary for me to just really get clear on who I am, what feeds me, what fills me, and nurture that, then I get to bring that sweetness out into life. And that level of clarity will shift and transcend my life and your life in so many ways. And then the second is choice. I have to actually choose to do that. I can be aware of something, but if I don't choose to do something with that, then nothing's going to change. And also, choice means to me that I have so many opportunities available to me. I can choose how I look at things. Am I basing things on the past? Am I looking for my desired goal that I want? What do I want to experience? So the clarity, and then choosing. Then choosing to take some action on that. And then communication. We are in a world with one another, and sometimes it's really important that we put it out there. Even spiritual mind treatment is a form of communication. It is saying to the universe, look, this is really important to me. This is what I want, and this is what I'm stating and claiming. And you open the door. You open the door for the creative energy of the universe to allow that to flow into your life. And then commitment. I'm so committed. I'm so committed to myself and to my spiritual growth, and to being as real as possible, as honest as possible, and taking personal responsibility for the experiences of my life. And that's not to do it in a self-judging way. It's a way for me to nurture myself and go, well, that didn't work. Let's do something different. This is really working. Let's expand on that. And I'm so committed to being present with myself. And therefore, that extends that commitment to each of you. Each of you that I'm in relationship with, it tends to, what it does is it commits to you. That you get the very best of who I am in the moment. You get someone who's committed and clear and willing to communicate and chooses to be involved in your life. And that is the point of empowerment. When we recognize we are at choice and what we're clearly choosing in our lives, that's where the power is, baby. So, and then the last part is connection. The more connected I am with myself, then the more connected I feel with you. If I feel any level of disconnect, it's because I've stopped looking at who I am, feeling the magnificence of who I am. I've stopped becoming aware of who I am. You see, this is all good stuff. There's 5 simple C words. And Barbara's done a talk on it's all in how you see it. And the C is creativity or reaction. It's the same letters. It depends on where you put the C in there. Highly recommend that talk. You can look it up on our website. And so it's all in how you see it. So here's some more C's to add to that. And I guarantee the more you nurture your relationship with yourself, the more your relationships will shift on the outside. The bigger your world becomes, the easier it gets. And I was sharing with a friend of mine a couple days ago. She said, I remember this children's book. She said, well, at least I think it was a book. Maybe I dreamed it. But we had this wonderful conversation. It turns out it's a Dr. Seuss book. And you know that old adage of everything I ever needed to learn about life, I learned from Dr. Seuss? I love this story. It's called King Louis Katz. Anybody ever heard of it? It's about King Louis Katz, who is the king of Katzstein something, and he's the king. and he decides that he didn't want to drag his tail around with him anymore. So he decided that somebody ought to carry it for him. And so herein lies the danger, right, of what we do in relationship. We want others to do for us, and then we put all that expectation out on somebody else. And so then that cat's carrying the king's cat tail around, and cat carrying the tail is like, well, why isn't somebody carrying my tail? So the next thing you know, throughout the whole book, is a lineup of cats holding each other's tail up because they're royalty. Well, you know there's one cat at the end, right? There's nobody left to carry his tail. And he's looking, and he's like, well, what about me? What about me? Did you ever have that feeling? What about me? And so he decided, I don't need anybody to carry my tail. Why am I carrying somebody else's tail? Wait a minute. We're all brilliant enough, magnificent enough to carry our own tails. And so he dropped the tail in front of him, and he picked up and carried his own tail. Very proud. Very proud. And so then all the cats started dropping their tails and picking up their own. And I think it's just such a wonderful story that we can get so interconnected with other people, and we can get so involved in thinking that others should be doing for us or that we should be doing for them. And it really comes down to us nurturing ourselves, us carrying our own tail, us treating ourselves like royalty, us nurturing who we are, that deep divine presence and awareness. And that's what we get to bring to one another. I love this story. I love this story. I found it online, and I'm going to order it. I just want to share with you a few more words. Be good to you. Be yourself, truthfully. Accept yourself, gratefully. Value yourself, joyfully. Forgive yourself completely. Treat yourself generously. Balance yourself harmoniously. Bless yourself abundantly. Trust yourself confidently. Love yourself wholeheartedly. Empower yourself immediately. Give yourself enthusiastically. Express yourself radiantly. I invite each of us to, carry our own tail. Carry our own tail, and in carrying our own tail, we have so much more to offer everybody else in our world. Because the bottom line is, we're worth it. The bottom line is, we are God expressing to God, expressing to God, expressing to God. And it only gets confusing and conflicting when we forget that awareness, when we forget to remember who we are. And, there's that old saying, and it often comes at the end of relationships or the end of a date, where it says, hey. Where it says, where it's really not going anywhere, and one person says, it's not you, it's me. It's true. It's just true. There's nothing else I have to say about that. So it's not me, it's you, and I just invite each of us to hold our tails up high. And thank you. Have a blessed day.